Sam, who should we believe? You or... That's the question of the day. Are we going based on your orders? Someone give us the orders. If we're live, send a tweet at me right now. Tell me if I'm live or not, because these guys are telling me I'm not live yet. I'm telling you, I think I am live.
We're live.
Are we live? Okay, we are live. Thank you, David. We're live, folks. Anyways, we are back with the great Ricky Aguilar and Gerard Michaels back in the house. You guys have never done this together, right? It's always been Adam. You're sitting in Adam's chair.
I'm sitting in Adam's chair,
and Gerard sitting in his chair, you know, where he's at right now. So have you guys ever spent time together?
No,
or no, this is the first time?
He's flexing on me all day over here.
No.
He's been flexing on me. Shows up with a $10,000 watch. I'm like, what's going on here?
We're talking about flexing. Last night, there was a guy flexing at the house till 1 o'clock in the morning. Our friend Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia.
That was nuts.
We had a good time with him yesterday. You know, just a crazy thought to throw out there. A year ago, I got myself in trouble. Okay, I didn't get myself in trouble, but I got, Phil and I were doing a live, and I said, what if I run a bodybuilding contest show, but I want the best of the best show up. First place, I give $1 million, okay? Second place, I give $500,000. But I want the best of the best of the best, and we sell it on pay-per-view. And it got Phil a little bit in trouble because you're not supposed to be talking to the guy. I mean, this is your Mr. Olympia. You're not supposed to do that. But you know what? There's something about the Mr. Olympia brand that needs competition. I don't know why. I just feel it needs somebody to ruffle the feathers a little bit. I think it's a little bit too political. I'd love to see somebody come out there and stir the pot with Mr. I was doing bodybuilding interviews for a long time. We may be doing some surprises here soon. I don't know what it is, but just something about wanting to compete with Mr. Olympia excites me.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And by the way, I don't even know if there's a big audience for bodybuilding or not. I don't know if there's a big...
there is. I think there might be now more than even before, Pat.
There's a part of me that wants to agree with you. There's a part of me that wants to believe that. There's a part of me that thinks...
vegans and all that stuff. There's new world that we're living in right now that people are like trying to live real healthy. I think there's a bigger market than you might think.
Can I ask you a weird question?
Yeah.
Mr. Olympia, how big of a brand is that?
Massive.
Massive brand. I mean, bodybuilding people. Okay. Arnold, Lee Haney.
Yeah.
They have footage
Coleman.
from everywhere.
Yes.
How many subscribers do you think Mr. Olympia's YouTube channel has? You can't answer this. How many subscribers do you think their channel has?
I said last
He said
night,
2.5 million.
2.5 million.
I'm going to go... Man, that's tough.
Can you pull it up?
Worldwide?
Worldwide. Their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I would say maybe 4 million.
4 million.
Yeah,
Okay, I would have said 5. Kai, can you pull up
Yeah.
their YouTube channel right now to take a look at this? By the way, maybe help them out a little bit. Go give them a subscriber or something. Shit, I don't know what they're doing over there. But, okay, go to Mr. Olympia's YouTube channel, okay? Here's a brand. Who the hell is running this thing that can't even figure out to get more than 31,000 subscribers? If I'm a bodybuilder representing a brand like that, you guys got to do a better job marketing. You got physiques. You ever see these guys with apps post a picture, 38,000 likes?
Yeah.
These guys are posting 48,000 likes. How do you not have all the footage they own, they don't even know how to market a brand like this. Anyways, I hope the new guy does something about it, Jake. I've heard good things about him. But I think there needs to be some kind of a shakeup there. That's just my opinion.
Competition, man. I mean, look, this is what I was hoping for. I was really, really rooting for Vince McMahon's XFL to actually do something, not to compete with the NFL, but to maybe improve the brand, give these guys a chance to
Listen, that's one of the best things about capitalism. Look what happened with Rogan and Stelter, right? Let's get right into what happened with Rogan. By the way, we got a lot of stories going on, okay? Gerard's favorite story is the Nickelodeon story because Gerard grew up hardcore on Nickelodeon. We got to touch up on that.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber pretended to. This was an actual interesting spoof of what happened, saying this isn't Justin. You got the wrong guy. We'll cover that here in a minute. Chris Cuomo calling Fox News a disgrace. You got Devin Booker. This might be a bad president. Richard Jefferson roasted NBA. I mean, it was Devin Booker stood up and did something very interesting that pissed off a lot of people. Victoria's Secret abandons its dressed angels, saying they're no longer culturally relevant activists and entrepreneurs will be the new faces of the brand. It says, will it work or not? I guess we're going to talk about that and some stuff going on in Chicago. But let's talk about Rogan and Stelter, okay? So Brian Stelter is with CNN, right?
For now.
And he's got a show that is plummeted tremendously. I don't know if you're familiar with who Brian Stelter is. They call out typically, these YouTubers. They call, I can't believe these podcasters are getting more views than we are. So Rogan decides to call him out. And here's what Rogan said. Let's just read this story here and let's get right into it.
What page are you in, Pat?
I'm on page 6.
Page 6, got it.
Inside Joe Rogan's bitter feud with CNN's Brian Stelter. This is a Newsweek story. During a conversation with political commentator Kyle Kulinski on the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan described a CNN segment about the popularity of YouTubers and podcasts who in some cases have more viewers than traditional TV networks. Rogan said of Brian Stelter, who hosts reliable sources, they're describing as if they're entitled to viewers. This is because the market has spoken and your show is effing terrible. Rogan also took aim at Stelter for his recent interview with White House press secretary in which he asked, what does the press get wrong when covering Biden's agenda? Okay. How about Brian Stelter talking to the press, broadening his criticism to the cable hosts in general? Rogan added, they're obviously being told a certain amount of what to do. And I mean, maybe he'd be an interesting guy if he had his own effing podcast. If he could just rely on his own personality and be himself, I don't know. I can't imagine doing that gig. Any of those guys, that gig is a strange gig, right? So you talk about capitalism, okay? Yep. You talk about capitalism. This is the ultimate capitalistic thing taking place right now on media. You got these guys who went to the Columbia University. They all did the right way. They got their jobs at CNN. And now Rogan is crushing these guys' numbers. Yep. Crowder is destroying them, and they're upset about it. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, let me tell you, man, this is a great time to be alive because the funny thing about it is it's gaslighting more than anything else. Stelter's trying to say that because of these podcasts, people like Rogan and Patrick Bet-David, they can get fake news. They don't want, it's not fake news. Who's more fake news than CNN? They're mad they don't have control over the narrative. These people are so sick in the head. This human thumb that is Brian Stelter. And thank you for describing to your audience who he is, because there's nobody who's ever watched him. They don't know who he is. He is a human thumb. He is a propagandist of the highest order. And this dude is mad that other people can actually find news and information that they want, and he can't just shove his worldview down everybody's throat. That's what he's upset about. Yeah. What is he saying? He's saying, I don't want to compete. I'm a mouthpiece of the rich, the rich Hollywood elite, and you have to take what I give you when I give it to you. Shut up, bend over, and take it.
Who do people trust more, Rogan or Stelter?
Rogan by a mile.
Is it even a question?
No.
Okay, let's go through the list of the guys that have their own shows right now. Let's go through the list and tell me who you actually trust. You got to say someone you trust from the left as well, though. Sure. It can't be like, so, okay.
I could give you a list of 6 or 7 from the left.
Don Lemon.
No.
I'm sorry, Don Lemon. No. Okay. Rachel Maddow.
No.
No. Anderson Cooper.
No.
Okay.
Anderson Vanderbilt.
Okay. Stelter.
No.
Okay. Bill Maher.
Yes. He's starting to be a lot more honest.
Jon Stewart.
Yes.
Okay, Russell Brand. I mean, he's not a media guy. He's a YouTuber guy. But
love him.
Okay, who else we got on the left? Okay, who else you got on the left right now?
I can give you. All right. There's a guy named Jason Brennan from 200 Proof Liberals that I read almost every day, and he has a what's it called? He's a professor at University of Georgetown. Matt Taibbi, former editor of Rolling Stone. Barry Weiss from the New York Times. Alex Berenson. These are all what I would consider, you like the term JFK Democrats. Look, I'm a libertarian. I'm not a Republican. I'm not some far-right dude, man. I have been the same. We talked about this a few podcasts ago. I had to really reevaluate myself during COVID, Pat, because I found myself like being, finding like things Alex Jones was saying, like, wow, all right, like I'm agreeing with Alex Jones. I need to reevaluate. This is pause for concern. But I'm in the same place I've always been. It's the culture's gone so far left so fast that it makes anybody who's in the center or was in the center even 2-3 years ago seem like a far right extremist.
What do you think about Fareed Zakaria?
Like him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I disagree with him, but I appreciate his approach, I should say.
I would agree with that as well. Adam's a big fan of Fareed Zakaria. He sends me stuff. He sent me a couple of things over the weekend. I was looking at how he was presenting Russia and Iran. What do you think about what's going on right now with the Rogan Stelter story?
No, I agree with them. I think that what's happening is that there's a narrative they want to push, and anybody that doesn't believe their narrative or doesn't buy into their narrative becomes the enemy, right? And so here's the reality: is that the media and the elite don't want free thinkers, and podcasts are free thinkers for now until somebody's going to get bought out eventually, right? But the free thinker scares the world. It scares the elite. Because what happens, you start to rally people behind. Hey, let's question this. Maybe this is not reality. I was talking to. I was telling him that I was at my family's gathering this past I think it was not this weekend, it was the past weekend, and we were having conversations with that. Like, hey, what's up? How dumb do you guys feel about the way you voted now? I mean, it's so obvious.
You're asking that?
Yeah, I'm asking them, and they're just like, oh, well, no, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? So I think what's happening is that people are in a position right now where they are really extremely confused. And the only way to keep them in control is to be able to push your narrative down their throat. But right now, with the high gas prices, with the high taxes, with the open borders, people are like, whoa, did we really make the right decision? So right now, obviously, you're not going to get people from the far right to come to the left, and you're not going to get people from the far left to come to the middle, or try to get them to meet in the middle. But you have a lot of people in the middle. They're like, I wonder what direction to go into. And those are the people right now those are the new voting bloc for 2024. And it scares the crap out of CNN, the elite, even Fox, to think that they may lose these people because of people that are thinking and talking freely. And I just think that's where we're at right now. Because I think a voting bloc is opening up right now. I really believe that there's a voting bloc that's opening up.
I need the far left to come to the middle a little bit, though. I need them to come to the middle because the thing is, they have power. The far right doesn't have power. For all like the boogeyman far right we're always hearing about, they're not in power.
No, they're not.
Who's a far right governor right now?
No.
Who's a far? What's the far right
Yeah.
in Congress and Senate? Right? There's the far left is ever increasing in power.
Yes.
They own all of our schools. They own all of our C-suites, right? How many corporations, we're going to talk about Nickelodeon in a second, how many corporations do everything they possibly can, bend over backwards for the far right?
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
But it takes exactly one article from Huffington Post, and now Charles Barkley can't talk about big old babies out in San Antonio anymore. They own us. They own the culture. They own the zeitgeist. They're driving the ship. They're at the wheel, man.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
this whole 50-50, it's both sides thing. It drives me out of my mind.
They're not going to win, though. They're not going to win, though. I'm telling you, they're not going to win because let me put it to you this way. Here's what history has told us. History has told us the biggest thing you can take away from people that brings out, okay, so think about it this way. What will bring out the worst in you? What will bring out the worst in you? Not the best in you, the worst. Like, look, every one of us has a dark side inside. Everybody has it. My kids have it. You have it. My mom, my dad. Everybody's got it. But for some, it takes a lot to get to, right?
Yeah.
For some, it takes a little. For some, they are itching for it, right? What's going to get the worst out of you?
Trying to control me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
same
else?
Here.
Same. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So let's go through them actually. Kai? What would get the worst out of you? Actually, I want to ask everybody.
Endangering
David,
my family.
What's going to bring out the ugliest side of David out? Like you're going to be like hell to the no. We don't even recognize you. Who would? And folks, if you're listening to this, I want to hear from you as well. What event? What do you lose? What can be taken away from you where we're going to see the worst side of you? David, what's yours?
Probably some sort of physical harm to my family or something like that.
I agree. That's one of them. I'm with you there. Are you same place? Vanessa, how about yourself?
Yes. If someone tries to hurt my mom, I would go bananas.
Okay, good. You see how you went there. Kai, by the way, our emotions, have you noticed we're there right now?
I'm tense.
Kai, how about yourself?
I'm thinking.
Are you really thinking?
Yeah.
This isn't a technical question. Don't try to act like you don't have a dark side deep down inside where you wouldn't flip. If somebody did something to your mom who's raised you guys
nice, humble
incredibly,
guy.
if somebody did something to your mom.
No, definitely family. I think that'd be one, or just severely limiting what I can say or do. I think.
Okay,
that'd be
there you
another.
go. So you have to, as you go down the list, so think about, somebody putting a muzzle on you. Like actually think you can't talk anymore. What are you going to do? How do you express yourself to tell the world who you really are?
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. People don't realize, like, there are certain things you do to others. You are like creating a monster soon to be released to the world. You cannot do that. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. It's not like, hey, you're going to go out there and going to say, these guys can't talk, those guys can't, you can't say anything, block these guys, censor those guys. You keep doing that over and over and over again. When it comes back on you, it's not going to be a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be with vengeance. It's going to be, and it's going to be such true believers that you're going to be miserable for decades. That's the ugly thing that's going to eventually take place.
Well, what would it take, though? I mean, I would have thought the tea would have been thrown in the harbor 6 months into quarantine.
It's not a one-year fix, though. It's not a one-year fix. The problem with something like this, I don't think it's a one-year fix. I think, so you and I spent the whole day with Rudy Giuliani last week. Yes? We were at Rudy's place. And you go in. How was he with you when you spent the time with him? Incredible. Did he make you breakfast? He brought you guys eggs. All that stuff.
Coffee,
and we had a 2-hour sit down. Ended up being how long?
He wouldn't let you leave. Almost 4 hours.
Yeah, he wouldn't. We had a 4-hour conversation with Rudy, and we're going in his office. He's showing all these stories. His uncle Joe DiMaggio, all these great stories that he had, right? And we're sitting there talking. I told Rudy, I said, Rudy, one of the biggest challenge we're facing right now is, Republicans made a mistake. Same thing we keep talking about. They made a mistake. Republicans went after being rich and leave me alone. Democrats went after let me buy media and let me buy universities. It's very simple.
He wanted to disagree with you, then he thought about it, and then he agreed with you.
Yes, it was obviously we cover a lot of different things.
Yeah.
We're working on a special project right now that we'll be launching here pretty soon. But the right has to re-strategize.
Yeah.
The thing is this. So check this out, Ricky. You know that one time I'm hosting a meeting at Yucca Valley. Okay, Mario would remember this. We're at Yucca Valley. I don't even know where Yucca Valley is. Yucca Valley is right outside of Indian Wells, which to make the world
Palm Desert area.
Palm Desert,
Yeah,
Palm Springs area.
yeah.
Okay, so we rented this castle in Yucca Valley. This guy builds this castle, and all he does is he rents it out. Okay, so we go in. We're sitting there. We're trying to come out with our code of honor, how to run our sales office. This has got to be 06, maybe 07, right? And we go there and we decide to come up with the code of honor that everybody agrees on. One guy named Philip, says we should do parliamentary law. That's how we should come up with these rules. Parliamentary is what? Everybody has to agree or else it's not getting up there.
It's not getting out there, yeah.
You know, we started at 6 o'clock at night. I'm not even kidding with you. We finished at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
The next day.
The next day.
Wow.
Oof.
We finished 7 o'clock the next morning. Why? Because there was no one voice. I said, I will never do this again. Yeah. Initially, I agreed to it. I said, this is not effective. Somebody has to be a shot caller, right? You know what's the problem with the Republican Party right now? Who the hell is a shot caller?
Nobody.
Who behind closed doors is sitting down and saying, guys, this is the strategy moving forward. The left's got it. Right doesn't have it. Now, don't get me wrong. They're segmented right now, even the left, because they got the AOC side.
Yeah.
They got the liberal side. But there isn't a voice that's bringing people together saying, what's the next strategy?
Yeah, I think they're I think you're right, but I think it's not because how can I put this? Look, the same reason why the Libertarian Party is never going to be any sort of a real party, because you have people who their entire intention is small government. You can't sell that. There's two people. There's two types of people that get involved in government: the greedy and the crazy. Okay, you have people that are either trying to give money to politicians because they expect to get something in return, or you have people that have been so negatively affected by something in their life that they're nuts, they're lunatics, they're activists, and those are the people that donate their time. So you have people there's two commodities when it comes to politics. You have time and you have money. Mm-hmm. How much time have you ever donated to a political party? You're a politically active guy.
Yeah.
How much time have you ever donated?
I've donated quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're in this entire office,
Yeah.
statistically speaking, you would be one of two people in this entire office that has donated time to a political party.
Yeah.
Donating money is something even less people do.
Yeah.
So in an
I've
office,
done that as well.
In an office of 100 people, the crossover is incredibly high. It's over 75% of the people who donate time donate money. It's a very, very active small group. This is the exact point I'm
Meaning
trying to make.
more time is given than money's given.
More time is given, but the people who give time also give money. It's a 75% crossover.
Okay.
It's a
Makes
very,
sense.
very small group.
Yeah.
So those groups tend to be on the extreme. So you were talking about the center before and how the center, there's a chance for a third party. Pat's talking about.
Yeah.
There's a market for it right now.
Yeah.
Over 73% according to the Cato Institute. We fall between like 5 and 6% left and right. We're all in the center. We're just a shade of left or a shade of right.
Right.
But those people, us in the middle, we don't donate our time. We don't donate our money.
Yeah.
So we
You
don't
can't
get
get
our,
anywhere.
we don't get anywhere.
Because you're not rallying anything.
So if you look at AOC and you look at people that are on the far left, and Pat, you're talking about, well, there's no leader. They have nothing to bribe people with. AOC comes in and she says, government is good. We need more government. So if you stump for me, I'm going to give you a job and I'm going to give you money. And it's not hypocritical because that's her entire worldview. So she can literally sell government and people can get behind and say there's something in this for me.
Right.
They can hit the ego aspect of this.
Right.
If you're a true quote unquote Republican, if you're a true small government conservative, if that even exists anymore, if you're not just a big government but different type of loans to other people, right? If you're a true small government person, if you are a true free market individual, it's very, very hard to get people involved in your cause because there's nothing in it for them outside of ideological agreement. Right. So that becomes the struggle. The struggle becomes, what's the carrot? What is the carrot for you? I need people on my campaign. What's the carrot for you? I'm gonna eliminate this department. There's gonna be no job for you.
You know, it's crazy. Kai, what's that one book we read? The guy who ran Washington for years. What's his name?
James Baker the
James
third.
Baker the third. Okay, great guy, great story, right? They called him the real president of the United States for the longest time. James Baker, but it's the same guy, right?
Is that the guy from the Christian group?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the guy. He was a guy that was a right-hand guy for a lot of people who won elections.
Okay.
He's the chief of staff for, I think, Reagan. He was pretty much Dick Cheney, pre-Dick Cheney, but he ran everyone, right? There's only one thing he had no aspirations to become, which is what?
The lead dog.
He had no. When I asked Joanna Mendez, the chief disguise officer of U.S., I said, "What's the quality of a great CIA agent?" She said, "Somebody that's ambitious, charming, charismatic,
Yes, I remember
all of
that.
that, except somebody that doesn't want or need the credit if they save the world."
Yes.
That's who it is.
This is what they described a mafia boss.
But that's the point. Somebody who is the person that needs to be a voice on the right to help with these strategies is somebody that has zero aspirations to be a president. Zero. They have no aspirations to be president. They have no aspirations to go out there and get whatever else they need to be doing. It needs to be somebody with credibility. It needs to be somebody that wants to purely keep it free. If somebody like that gets there and says, hey, here's some strategies. This is what I suggest we do. Let's get behind this message. Let's do something like this. Let's put a pool and we create a fund. And that fund goes one by one, buying any media company that's on sale. I'm going to keep saying this until somebody listens to this. Every media company that goes on sale, you buy it and you pay 25% more.
You got to compete in the information economy.
You
absolutely.
have to compete in the information economy. Anything. New York Times for sale, buy it. New York Post for sale, buy it. Huffington Post for sale, buy it. I don't care what it is. Buy it and pay 25% higher.
Can't beat them, buy them. I
Buy
love
'em.
it.
Buy all of it.
Absolutely.
And you got the fund to do it. Take the top 100 richest Republicans on the right. Take it.
Absolutely.
Create a fund. Everybody chips in 10%. You know how it's like, I'm going to give 10% to charity? This isn't charity.
Okay, why aren't
you
they
own
doing
equity.
this? This makes a ton of sense.
I don't know why
Well,
they're
because
not doing
you know
this.
what? You know what? Here's we were interviewing Ted Gowdy. Ted Gowdy or Gowdy?
Trey Gowdy.
Trey Gowdy.
Yeah.
Trey Gowdy. And
Ted Bundy?
and so Ted Gowdy or Groudy?
Trey Gowdy. You're saying it right. Trey.
Gowdy.
White people's
Trey
names
Gowdy.
are so hard.
Yes,
It's so
they are
true, yeah.
extremely hard. Trey
3
Gowdy.
syllables.
And so we're interviewing him. Actually, one of my mentors, Jose Gaitan, is interviewing
So you got
him.
Jose Gaitan, no problem.
What do you mean?
Jose Gaitan
I'm
got
a
that
bean-
no
bro,
problem.
I'm a beaner, bro. Like
But-
if I don't get
but
that
Trey
right now-
Gowdy.
yeah, Trey Gowdy. So anyway, he's interviewing him, and Trey Gowdy what he does is he goes into a part where he's very briefly says that he retired or he stepped away because he didn't see what he was rallying going anywhere.
And he was a brilliant
The
congressman too, yeah.
second to him would be I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. He's really loud. Starts with the J. I can't remember his name. God, I love him too. I love watching him.
I believe Trey Gowdy never lost a case as a prosecutor.
Right, he never lost. But what
Yeah.
I'm getting at is this: that the ones that do want to rally and want to start a campaign to get people to wake up to what's going on are not having enough backing.
No, he quit.
So they get
Yeah.
tired.
He quit.
Yes,
specifically because he's like, I can do more good outside of
Right,
Congress.
because
Imagine
you
that.
can't. Like
Imagine that.
going back to Pat's
a
point
beast, man.
is that the fact that there's no backing.
He's a perfect guy for that. By the
Right.
way, it's so funny you
Yes.
just brought, I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, Trey
He
Gowdy.
would be the right guy.
100%.
He would be
Yes.
because everybody trusts
Yes.
him.
Yes.
Bring him in. He has no motive.
No, he
His
doesn't.
motive is he says, like, I just want to be with my kids. My wife doesn't want him to get into politics. But he's a brilliant strategist
Yes.
behind closed doors.
Yes.
It's
I would
important
love
for me.
to have my campaign if I ever needed
It's
something.
important for me to note,
good
gentlemen,
point.
for the hundreds of thousands of valuetainers listening, that Ron Paul was right about everything. He's always
you're a
been
Ron
right
Paul
about
guy.
everything. He's not been wrong. He's been vindicated. He was right about it all.
Well, we're going to see what's going to happen there. But let's go to a complete different story here. Let's go to I'm going to go to the investment banker labor crunch. Go to page 3. Go to page 3. We'll talk a little bit business here. So investment banking labor crunch. A junior banker shortage is forcing rainmakers to do grunt work, and firms are lowering the bar for new hires. Business Insider. America is facing labor shortage spanning multiple industries. Banking isn't immune. Just months after junior bankers rallied against management amid crushing levels of burnout, one of the root drivers of the problem has yet to be solved. Banks have too few hands on deck to handle their massive deal loads. As a result, some senior bankers have been forced to roll up their sleeves to work on deal processes that typically would have been relegated to the most entry-level employees, according to some banking insiders. In some cases, the situation has gone too dire that banks have had to turn away business. Some firms have easily shed junior throughout the which have heavily shed juniors throughout the pandemic, have recently been laterally hiring juniors with minimal experience who have a pretty steep learning curve. So can you imagine saying, "Oh my gosh, we have so many deals, we have to turn them down"?
Yeah.
What a place to be. What a place to be. What do you think about that story?
That's
Pay
insane.
people more money and they will work. My God. Am I supposed to feel bad for investment banking firms now that they can't get cheap labor? Come on.
It's not a sweatshop.
Enough already with these guys. My God. I am so, dude, I'm so sick of Wall Street and the crony capitalism, man. Look, I lost a lot of money on my stonks when Robinhood decided that they weren't going to let the hedge fund lose. All right. I'm one of those guys that I got crushed in that short squeeze. We were about to make a ton of money, and they got together with old Janet Yellen. They said, no. We're not gonna let that hedge fund go under. We're just gonna shut down. You can sell your stock, but you can't buy it.
But you can't buy it.
You can't buy it. Yeah. Screw that and screw these people. All right. You want people to work? Pay them. You want people to do the job. So really, really well-paid people at these firms are crying because they don't want to do this work because it's hard. Then pay people more money to do the hard work.
Yep.
Enough already. I'm so sick of these dudes.
Hold on. How much of it has to do with the fact that they're getting paid to do nothing?
Which ones?
With the
senior
stimulus
guys.
Yeah,
you're talking about the stimulus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the junior bankers. How much of it has to do with that?
Well, you talking about the stimulus that they got?
I'm
and stuff
talking
like
about the fact that they got the seniors are overpaid and not doing
Yeah,
enough.
that's what I'm saying.
And with the combination of the fact that the stimulus check was literally almost damn near 6 figures.
Dude,
how much does that have to do between both of those things?
Yeah, there's this idea that people are supposed to quote unquote do the right thing, like don't take the unemployment and go back to work. Screw that, man. If the government's giving that money to all their buddies, you take that money too.
Yeah.
I have absolutely zero problem with somebody staying home and caking off the government dime. If they're gonna give this money to Raytheon, they're gonna give this money to their own donors anyway. Get yours, man. Because otherwise, I said it last time, if you're doing the right thing when everybody else isn't doing the right thing, you're not noble, you're a sucker. Get cake. Sit home and cake, man. If they want these people to work, Pat, if they want these people to work, sell some of those Da Vincis that they got hanging in the 118th floor of their mahogany offices and pay these dudes some money. Pay people to work and they will come back to work.
Let me give you, Kai, who did I sit with this week who told me the story about the guy that replaced the WeWork CEO, Adam Newman, but the new guy. Can you pull up the new CEO of WeWork? Who's the new CEO? I got the best story. I got WeWork CEO.
I just don't have it in me. I can't cry for
Sandeep.
investment
Let me tell you the
bankers,
story.
man.
Yeah, no,
Sandeep.
I agree.
So I'm speaking to a guy. I don't know who did I interview this week, Kai? Who was the person I interviewed this week? Business person I interviewed. Anyway, so I'm interviewing this guy, and he brings up the story of Sandeep. And Sandeep takes over WeWork, okay? And he, this one guy is shadowing him. I wish I could remember who I'm talking to. This one guy is shadowing him, around him. Oh, Peter Tunney. I'm with Peter Tunney, who's an artist out of Wynwood. Great artist, love the work. He's coming to my house right after this. I've got something I commissioned. He's coming out to do some. He's done stuff for Michelle Obama, for Jared Kushner, for Trump, for everybody, for Bezos. Everybody's got his piece. He's got a ridiculous. He used to be an investment banker back in the days. Very interesting guy. He says, at 14 years old, I went to a party and there was pot, there was cocaine, there was everything there. He said, I left the party at 45 years old. That's what he says. He says the guy's filled with stories. So we go to his place, and this weekend I go and I take Shonda and I take Mario and I take Sam. We go there. Anyway, he tells a story about his friend from WeWork, Sandeep, who took over, and he's got a good relationship with him. He says, Pat, let me tell you how this guy did it. He did it right. He says, Sandeep comes to want to save WeWork. And I asked him a question, how did you save it? He said, very simple. This is what I did. He says, I live in a 2-bedroom place, okay? He says, I drive a Volvo. He says, one of my top guys that's making all the money, is doing all this stuff, they don't want to go to work anymore. They're just kicking back. Again, the problem with senior brokers, they don't want to get to work. They've already earned it. Like, I'm too good. This happens in our business as well, Ricky, where people make it, and they feel they're too entitled to go run an appointment and meet with somebody, right?
6-figure golfers.
There's no way I'm going to come sit down with you. Who do you think you are? Like, you realize how much money I make? They kind of start believing their own hype. He says, here's what I did. How did you save WeWork? He says, I came in and I knew what my solution was going to be. He said, it was making 2,000 calls a week for 1 straight year. Then I was going to turn the company around. And he says, what was the caller like? He just sat there and says, he sits there right in front of his desk. He's got the call and makes a phone call. Hey, John, he says, I have to make 2,000 6-minute calls per month, and I can turn it around within a year. 2,000 6-minute calls in a month, and I'll turn the company around within a year. He calls all the property people that don't want to pay the rent anymore. He's calling all the people WeWork. He's calling all the clients. Hey, so this is Sandeep. Look, you know, we just wanted to call and see how are things, what's going on, da-da-da-da. Great, fantastic. Look, we got to get that payment. I understand you don't want to pay it. I understand you're going through struggles, but let me tell you something. You got your PPP. You got the house you're looking at. Nobody told you to buy 7, Bugattis. Nobody told you to go buy that $40 million home. Nobody told you to do all that other stuff. You did it. I need that payment to be made, and I need that payment to be made now. Okay, great. He says, that's what I do all day to save a company. A guy like that in the investment banking world ends up gaining so much respect from the street.
Because he does the work.
Because he does the work.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's running WeWork and replacing Adam Newman. And some guy who's out there, an investment banker who's making a senior broker, he's making $1 million, $1.5 million, he thinks he's already made it, and he doesn't want to go. Here's another guy that comes in, he's worth $500 million. This guy's going to end up being a $500 million type of guy, the CEO of WeWork, right? No, I'm making a phone calls. Going back to the drawing board, he says, look, running a company is sales. You got to make the phone calls. Unfortunately, in the world of business, many people don't make the phone calls. I'll tell you Ron Paul's story, and then we'll go to the next story. I'm sitting with Ron Paul 4 years ago. We're in Houston. And were you with us? Or
I was, yeah.
So we're sitting with Ron Paul, and it was 4 years ago, and I'm interviewing the guy. And what a genius of his brain is a very interesting brain, right? And he says, years ago I'm a doctor. I think it was he delivered 4,000 babies.
This was right after there was that shooting his son got shot at during the congressional.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly. But he used to be a doctor, and I think he delivered 4,000 babies. I don't know. I think it's a 4,000 baby, the number that he talks about. He says, one day I hear about this economist. He says, so I go, while I'm a doctor, I go to hear him speak. And I go once, and I go twice, I go 3 times, I go 4 times. He says, I keep going back to the guy, and he tells the guy, I don't know who it was. He says, I tell the guy that, look, I can't get this stuff out of my head, and I want to tell the world about it. What do I do? Ron Paul gave the most ridiculous story. Watch what he says. He says, the guy told me, Ron, don't worry about it. He says, when you believe in a real cause, and it's not fake, and you can't help but talk about it, it's a crusade, you can't help but talk about it, don't worry. The right people will eventually find you and give you a platform.
Wow.
What a statement, right?
Yeah.
And look at the guy and what he did. He raised $6 million on MySpace in 24 hours, and that became at 69 years old, and everybody realized raising money is on social
Bernie
media.
Sanders
so Ron
stole
Paul,
his whole campaign. And nobody even stole the whole love and everything like that. Love revolution. He also said something else in that was really brilliant. That you asked him what the problem was. This might have been off air while we were setting up the cameras. He asked him, what's the problem in Washington? Like, why can't people get together? And he said, everybody's a lawyer. They're trained to win.
Oh yeah.
He said that. That's it. He said that. They don't care if they're right or wrong. They're literally trained winners.
Right.
They're trained to win no matter what. He said that's you go to law school to learn how to win.
Right.
That's literally it.
Not to negotiate.
So he's a doctor,
Yeah.
and then he was describing to you that there's maybe like 4 other businessmen, and there's one guy from MIT, and then everybody else is a lawyer. So you have 2 people, then they can tell you, over dinner, like, hey, look, you're totally right about this. This is something that we shouldn't do. And then the next day on the floor and be like, we have to do this. This is for America. It doesn't matter. They're there to win. And he thinks because they're lawyers, there's not enough of a cross section.
Right.
There's no there's no teachers in Congress. There's no farmers in Congress. There's no entrepreneurs. Barely entrepreneurs. If you want to count Mitt Romney, I mean he cuts people up and chops them in half. You know what I mean? He doesn't build businesses. He actually made his entire career on tearing them down and parting them out. He runs a chop shop. You know what I'm saying? So not that you would know anything about that.
I would know nothing about that.
But yeah, so I mean that's part of this interesting thing as well. When every time I listen to the podcast and your valuetainers, their comments are great, and they're always something to the effect of everybody wants consensus.
Yeah.
Pat's always talking about the left and the right have to come together. The people online respond to that. And it's not that we're like in some sort of isolated echo chamber where it's like, hey, working together helps. Like every human on earth knows that working together is better than going head to head with each other. But there has to be some sort of examination of the functions at place that preclude us from being able to do this.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we get together? And this is one of the things Ron Paul said that I thought was really, really salient. They're lawyers. They're not here for consensus.
You think his son stands a chance?
No. He's made too many enemies calling too many people out. I like Rand Paul. I do.
I like Thomas Massey. I like Tulsi Gabbard. You know, I like the
Who's the biggest enemies created? Is Fauci one of the biggest enemies, or no?
Oh
There's
my God,
bigger enemies.
Has to be. But remember, he does the forensic analysis every year. Every year he goes and filibusters and talks about the dumbest purchases the government made. Every year he goes through the budget and says, you know, we spent $450,000 to what, you know, to for Pakistan.
Yeah, I just watched the last one. Yeah.
You know,
gender study or something like that.
Yeah.
$10 million.
Oh, it was one thing. They did something where do beavers have better sex on cocaine?
Yes.
He was like, I don't think we needed to spend $300,000 to know.
I watched his one of his things on YouTube the other day, and I was like, we're really studying that?
Those are kickbacks, man. Those are kickbacks. He's calling out corruption without calling out corruption. So whoever sponsored those bills is looking at Rand Paul going, this nobody would know this ever happened.
He's a brass guy. You know how they say James O'Keefe, you know, you got to have brass to be able to do what he does. You know, he goes up and, you know, some of the stuff we've heard about behind closed doors that whatever, you know. But again, for him to do what he does, you got to have brass to do that.
Yeah.
There's certain guys that, brass, Gowdy, brass, Rand, brass.
Tulsi.
Tulsi's brass.
Tulsi's
brass is so approachable and likable. Tulsi has legs, man. No, I'm sorry. That's that's a wrong. It's a terminology I use. You can use it from the
Victoria's Secret won't have that, sir.
Tulsi Gabbard. But first of all, she's very marketable, very attractive. But
Yes.
Tulsi has legs, meaning she can have a career in politics and actually make some change in the next few decades. But going back to the Ron Paul story or the story Sandeep, the CEO WeWork. The whole thing is about long-term thinking. You don't make a change this dramatic in 3-6 months. You got to have a vision that you sit there and say, look, guys, we're not really solving for 221. We'll solve them for 2041. That's how you got to be thinking. And I think 2041, a real shift can be made. Go look at all big influencers right now. Bring them together. Unite them. Have a conversation with them. What can we do? If this thing really matters, because there's two things here. There's a couple of things that you got to be thinking about. One is, take the left, take the right. There are those who are influencers who are on the left or the right that their brand matters more to them than the crusade matters
100%.
to them. I don't know if that made sense or not. You know what I'm saying?
No, explain it.
Let me explain it to you.
Yes.
Let me explain it to you. Okay. There are certain people that wouldn't give up the celebrity status of who they are for the freedoms that who they get as a country. Meaning, they need the credit.
Yeah.
There needs to be
They need
credit.
the clout.
But I'm doing it. But it's me. But I'm doing it. If it's really not about the credit, and if it's really about how much you want to help save this country, well, then come together. Well, then come together and pull it off. If it's really about you want to really bring everybody together, let's bring everybody together. Why don't all of you guys come together and create a media company together? Everybody owns 0.5%, 1/4%, 1%. I'm talking about the big dogs, like have millions on top of millions of followers. Go build something together.
But you know, Pat, to touch on that point.
The money's not going to be hard to raise.
No, it's not going to be hard to raise. But you know what, to touch on that point, though, is that's what Politicon is made for. Politicon is made for that. And like, for example, Ben Shapiro offered AOC $10,000 to debate. She won't do it.
Yeah.
So if you really believe in what you're talking about, why aren't these liberals going on there and actually debating? Because they're going to fall apart. So I agree with where you're coming from, Pat. 100% I agree with that. The issue is some people are not showing up to the table when they're getting called out.
But AOC's low-hanging fruit. Why didn't he bring on Noam Chomsky? Why didn't he bring on...
No, I agree with you, but she's the loudest mouth. So if you're really going to push, like, she
She's
went to
the
the board.
loudest mouth.
So you got to go after the loudest mouth. Does that make sense? So, like, for example, when Trump was president, she went to the board and there's a picture of her crying.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Then Biden's president, it's climate change because of the immigration problem.
Can you pull that up?
but
Can you
in
pull that picture?
fairness-
AOC
Yes, I
crying
could not
border.
believe it.
Please,
bro.
I am begging you, please don't make me defend AOC. I beg you.
Well,
but
she-
she did, in fairness, call out Kamala Harris and Joe
No,
Biden
I
for how to
agree
handle it.
with you, but what I'm telling
Yeah.
you is that she's blaming the border issue on climate change. There's a video on
I
her on
know, yeah.
Instagram doing that. Like, this is a hoax. This is BS. She's got called out so many times. Candace Owens calls her out right there. You know what I mean? So it's like, and so like the whole thing with her grandmother.
That's nuts.
Come on.
That's
If
nuts.
it's really
with the
about Abuelita,
grandmother.
they're going to give you $100,000.
she made $1.5 million off merch because capitalism's awesome, by the way.
Right.
She makes $1.5 million off merch. My grandma can't eat.
But you're going to blame Trump.
Buy her an empanada, dog. Shit.
When Puerto Rico's been one of the most corrupt segments America's had for years. Because it's Trump. It's just ridiculous. So whenever
So
she,
it's
what I'm
very
getting at
interesting.
is that whenever she gets called out, she doesn't show up.
The Latin American community, not that you can speak for the entire Latin American
Of
community,
course.
but it's very, very interesting to me that how fervently Democrat a lot of them are, but their belief systems from
It's
the people that I know,
conservative.
like all the way through and through, hard work, faith, family, like that's, this is not
Brother,
exactly.
it's very simple. It's very simple. The Latin community only votes Democrat for one reason and one reason only. It's because they want or they think that voting Democrat is going to get their tío Pancho to come over the border and get a job here. That's it. When you talk about the actual views, alignments, vision of the Hispanic community, it is the opposite of the Democrat Party. It is the opposite of the Democrat Party. But all you have to do is grab one subject. For example, with the black community, you grab one subject, which is what's that one subject? Racism.
Yeah.
With the Hispanics, immigration. You got them. The rest, they're blinded to everything
One-issue
else.
voters.
It's a one-issue voter. One issue. Though Trump put the NCAAP on a 10-year plan, but when Obama had it on a year-to-year funding, though he created the First Step Act, which released 4,000 prisoners from nonviolent offenses, which 75% of them were black. Though the lowest unemployment for Hispanics and blacks were under Trump. That's just facts. People don't have to agree. Facts don't care about your feelings, people. I just hope you guys understand that, okay? These are facts.
Get fired up.
But yeah, because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting
No, I
at
like
is that
it.
but all you have to do is bring up racism. And you do that, boom, everything else goes out the window. Yeah, but. Yeah, but. So it's like, 99% of the things, one but. And they'll literally vote for one person. The Hispanic community does the same thing. Like I was having a conversation with...
When Hillary Clinton pulled out the hot sauce and
Yes,
did that,
yes. Like, for
that
the
didn't win you
suavecito,
over?
No. And for example, like, and we're gonna move on right now. That was ridiculous. So I
love Cholula.
I love my in-laws like to death, right? I shout out to my in-laws. I love them. They are like parents I never had, right? I love them. They're just the greatest people. They're just great people, right? And they're very open to listening. So when I go to their house, I'm hammering them. And I'm like, the TVs, I'm like, that's bullshit. That's a lie. That's bullshit. Like the whole time the thing is mentiras, mierda. Like I'm just throwing shit at the TV the whole time. I'm like, it gets to a point, you just change the channel, right? And so they believe me because they trust me. Still, and I'm not against it. I don't want to be one of those. I'm not against it. I believe your body, your choice. After we told them and I showed them all the information on not to get jabbed, right? They still went to get jabbed. And I said, why if I showed you everything? Because the problem, Pat says this all the time, it's the last appointment of the day. Their last appointment of the day is Univision. It's not me. So I can say whatever I want for 7 hours. The last 2 hours before they go to sleep with that in mind. So they went to go get jabbed. It's like, I just showed you all the information, blood coagulations, Pfizer's bringing
You
back
have to forgive me. I don't watch a lot of Telemundo, so
Okay.
is it like?
Bro,
is this...
it's
I thought for
propaganda.
sure you were a Telemundo guy.
Bro, it's propaganda.
I get my weather.
channel.
I get my weather from Telemundo,
Spanish,
dog.
It's Spanish propaganda. It's propaganda. So, like, for example, Jorge Ramos' daughter, Paola Ramos, I think her name is Paola Ramos.
You're nailing all these again,
she's-
Trey Gowdy.
Yeah, so Paola Ramos, if I'm not mistaken, she worked for the Clinton campaign. So then you wonder why.
okay,
Then you
okay.
wonder why Jorge Ramos was.
So it's CNN. It's Spanish CNN.
It's Spanish CNN, bro. And so what I'm getting at is that even having a me in the family, even having a me, the TV has more power over them.
But generationally, the more men like you come in, set down roots in the
flipping all of
country,
them.
you're flipping them. Yeah.
I'm gonna flip them.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a crazy question. Ready?
Yeah.
Here's a crazy question for you. All right, crazy question. I want you to think about this.
Yeah.
Okay, how many people do you think you're going to directly or indirectly flip in the next 10 years? 10 years. Directly or indirectly flip. Remember, key is not finding people who agree with you.
It's
The
finding
key
people that
word
you
is
agree.
flip.
Yes. So let me.
I'm going to ask you the question as well. I want you to think about it as well.
I'm gonna ask. So
10
after
years.
after this new president came in, I got, and I'm not exaggerating, probably Pat, about 150 messages from people that disagreed with me before and now saw what happened. They're like, bro, you were right about everything that you said. So I'm hoping actually have a target number. I'm hoping at least in the Hispanic community, within the next 10 years, I want to hopefully influence, flip, or start conversations that actually duplicate. I want to flip at least $500,000 in the next 10 years.
I think you could easily do that.
Yeah, I want to flip 100,000.
By the way, but you know how big of a number that is?
That's a big number.
Yeah, you know how big of a number that is. Remember, it's not find, agree.
No, it's flipping.
There's a big difference.
There's a big
meaning,
difference.
you may have 1 million people that agree with you.
Yes.
But 900 of them agreed with you. 100,000 of them flipped. That 100,000 is the key.
Yes.
What do you say? How many people you think you flip, or you think you're going to flip next 10 years?
I don't know. I don't know. But what I try to do, especially with my comedy, right, is I try to take kind of complex political issues like we're talking about now and try to like distill them down for like everyday people, right? And my big thing, I don't know how many people I want to flip, but I just want them to be aware of the consequences of the policies that they support.
That's a form of flipping.
Right? So I'll give you a perfect example,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, if somebody says something that should be illegal, okay? A lot of people say, well, that should be illegal, and they don't understand the consequence of what exactly they're saying.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like, okay, if that should be illegal, what you're saying is if I do that, then a man with a gun should come to my house and hold it to my face and say, get in that cage or else I'm going to kill you. That's what that is, right? So like every new law that we create, I just want people to understand like, okay, you're creating an opportunity for somebody to say,
Do the same to you.
exactly.
Later on.
And I'm gonna kidnap you at gunpoint. I mean, really, that's what being arrested is. Being arrested is the state kidnapping you at gunpoint. Now, maybe you deserved it, maybe you didn't, but that is what being arrested is. Be very, very clear. So I try to describe that to people like being arrested is being kidnapped at gunpoint by the state. You know what I'm saying? So whatever law we create, like maybe you don't want weed to be legal. You have your reasons for it, and that's fine. But should somebody really be kidnapped at gunpoint for having a plant in their possession? I just can't abide by that.
Yeah.
Right? So there's things that should piss you off. I don't think everybody should be able to come to the barbecue. You know, not to get too deep into it, but you know, you kind of talk about my body, my choice before. Like I think an abortion is the absolute worst thing somebody can do. I personally am so far against it, but I don't think it should be illegal because it's not my choice for other people to do what they do.
I agree with
right?
you.
And when you make something illegal, I don't think it stops. I think somebody that's that
There'll
desperate,
be a black market for it.
they're gonna do it themselves, and
Yeah.
then you create an entire
course.
environment of
Yeah.
you said the quote. What was the Abraham Lincoln quote you told? Abraham Lincoln quote you gave Rudy Giuliani.
It's the whole thing is meaning do not let. It's the whole industrial, the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower had, which is they used communism against anything else, which means the same things that they fought for. Lincoln gave the same thing. It's obviously a longer paragraph to read, but
It was about prohibition doesn't actually stop crime; it creates crime, right? Creating a prohibition doesn't stop the crime; it creates criminals out of people who weren't criminals, and that's my thing. So I'm kind of avoiding your answer.
by the way,
and
you know
I
what that
apologize.
means. You know what he means when he says prohibition. Like,
Of course.
you
You're
know,
restricting it. You're
yeah,
stopping
and
it.
look
You're
what
going it out.
happened.
It's
And they're
illegal.
going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
It was illegal,
Of course.
and now, like, you know
Of
how
course.
many people go about. Like just the other day, you come into a house. How much liquor do we have right now at the house that we have to fill up the cellar? The 1,500. No, honestly, how much?
You've got a nightclub's worth of booze. Man.
If you see what's in the house right now, right, I would be
And you don't
arrested.
even drink it, yeah.
I would be arrested 50 years ago for the amount of
Oh,
liquor I have
yeah,
in my
of
house
course,
right now.
of course.
you would have spent the rest of your life in jail.
I'd be in jail.
For the rest of your life. You got to understand, for the rest of your life. That's the part of, like, you're taking people's lives away. Especially, you talked about nonviolent criminals. We talked about Russ Ulbricht. We talk about, why? Because he stole money from the government? Because the government didn't get theirs? So again, I'm not out here to flip people. I really am not. I'm not out here to flip people. All the tolerant liberals that you know that are in your comment section, that every time I say something they don't have an answer for and they just call me fat. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not here to flip them. Although I do thank you for your positive bullying. I'm down like 20 pounds. So thank you guys.
You do look good.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So thank you, tolerant liberals in the comments for
Phil,
your
he gave you a shout out yesterday.
Yeah.
When Phil says, I didn't know you. I guess he could do 4 plays, but 525, and that's respect. I'd tear a peg if I did 525.
But the point I'm trying to make, man, is more than anything else, I'm not here to flip.
Well, let me give you a
I
question.
just want them to understand what they're advocating.
From a guy from the outside, that all I look at, I like data and results. That's me. That's how I'm driven. I like data and results. Meaning, Ben Simmons scored 5 points yesterday. Okay? He's got to get traded. Done. Doc Rivers couldn't answer the question because he didn't believe it, right? The Philadelphia 76ers should be going to the finals right now, but a Trae Young beat them. Embarrassing in Game 7. Shouldn't be happening. Now, Durant lost because he had a teammate that's probably the worst teammate in the NBA, which is Kyrie Irving. He shows up when he wants to. Harden was hurt. He pulled it by himself. He almost beat Milwaukee single-handedly without any help.
Yep.
He did by himself. So Durant is not leaving the playoffs with anybody giving him criticism. Durant's leaving the playoffs.
He left it all out there.
Everybody's saying he's the greatest player in the league today, right? Today, right? So data. Yeah, Ben Simmons. Guess what? You suck because your attitude sucks. Your attitude absolutely sucks. He has this attitude about himself that he doesn't have to improve on anything. That's the biggest challenge with him. This guy could be the next LeBron James. This guy could be the next face of the league, but he doesn't think he has any area to improve in. That's a weakness. Let's talk data. Here's data for you. Historically, who in your life shifted your way of thinking? Give me 3 names. Who in your life that you think about
in what part of?
Say politics, capitalism, way of thinking.
In politics and capitalism was you.
Okay, give me 2 other names. Who in your life got you to think of certain things? It could be spiritual.
Yeah.
It could be marriage. It could be finances. It could be business. It could be politics. Who flipped you?
Does it have to be somebody I met, or can it be somebody I read?
No, not at all. Could
Somebody
be a distance. Yeah, could be a Milton Friedman. I've never met Milton Friedman, right?
Yeah.
Who could it be for? Who's it for you?
Flipped or just influence in general?
For you to say, damn, that makes sense. You know what? Maybe the way I'm thinking right now.
Like switch my way of thinking?
Yes.
Oh, okay. To me, for on a personal level, to be a little bit more careful with my decisions and who I'm around, I'm going to say it's going to be my grandmother.
Okay.
She's like very like, hey, be aware of who's around you. Not everybody's your friend. Because I used to be very trusting, you know, very not like trusting, but like you're young and naive. So you think everybody's out to help you. With politics and with politics and capitalism, obviously it was you. And then as far as taking things a little bit more to a whole nother level of making a how can I explain it? Making it an actual career, not career, but making a bold move and a statement. I think to me is going to be my buddy Jesse with Lexit. Like, hey, we really need to push. It's not just you believing in your perspective on what's happening with America. We need to drive this to the
Jesse
from Lexit.
So
yeah, from Lexit movement.
So PBD,
Yes.
Jesse,
grandmother, yeah.
Okay. Who's for you? 3 names.
Well, I don't know his name. It's crazy, but one of the most influential moments of my life was that Navy SEAL gave the speech when I was with the Cardinals.
Got it. And you told me that story. That's sick.
That was one of the most.
Yep.
That was like transformative.
You called it the best motivational speech you've ever heard, and you've heard thousands.
Yeah, and it was.
Tell everybody since they're listening, could be good for them to hear it.
Okay. All right. So when I was in the minor leagues, one of the things that they do is they bring everybody into an auditorium once a week. I imagine similar to like, you know, sales executives, and they give these motivational speeches, and they have these speakers come in, and they get, you know, an hour, and it's normally horrible. It's normally the worst hour of your entire week. You got to listen to this guy, you know, try hard. If you're not working hard, the other guy, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, yeah, we get that. And like, we didn't get here by not working hard.
Understanding that.
Jerk. Yeah, but there was one guy came in, he was a Navy SEAL. Normally these guys wear suits and everything like that. This dude was in t-shirts, jeans, and flip-flops. Kind of a little dude, like not like what you would expect a Navy SEAL or whatever. And he stands up and he's like, who here has heard pain is weakness leaving the body? And we're like, oh, here we go again. He's like, that is the dumbest shit anybody's ever said out loud. And we're like, what? He was like, who here has heard that if you're not working hard, somebody else is going to outwork you, and when you meet them, they'll win? And we were like, yeah. And they were like, yeah, because rest isn't important. And like, you know, if you overtrain and tear your knee, did your ACL lack will? And so we were like, what is this guy talking? It's so the antithesis.
Unconventional,
it was the antithesis of everything we've ever heard.
But the way he turns it is what makes sense.
And he says, this is the deal, man. He goes, this sucks. Waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and running and working out and then going for batting practice all day and then hitting the gym, and that sucks. But you do it anyway. And you can't trick yourself into saying something that sucks doesn't suck. You can't be on the 3rd mile of a 3.5 mile, 95-degree run. Guy. Yeah, and be like, this is great. I love this. No, it's horrible. But you do it anyway. And everybody else, when it gets horrible, they quit. And that's why you're you and they're them. know it sucks and do it anyway. Embrace the suck. That was his whole thing. Embrace the suck.
So number one, embrace the suck, Navy SEAL. Who else? Give me two more.
Two more. The second one was Jordan Peterson, somebody that you've interviewed.
That's
very,
two.
very influential in my life. And the third one, it probably isn't one person. I went into college a pretty liberal dude, very anti-George Bush, very anti blood for oil. It was all the liberals in my college that were doing like performative stuff, and I was like, man, I am definitely not one of them. So
it's crazy. You've told that story as well. Watch this here. So watch this here. He just gave his three. You gave your three. Navy SEAL, Jordan Peterson, liberals at the college you went to. A bunch of people. By the way, I'm curious. I want to hear yours. Some people are saying they got a list here, so I'll give you some of the names. Jordan Peterson is out here by a lot of people. Rogan, PBD, Jordan Peterson, Larry Elder, Trump.
Larry Elder's badass. I love Larry
Prophet
Elder.
Muhammad, a guy said. That's Anas.
Wow.
We have Anas.
That's interesting.
Thomas Sowell.
Ben Shapiro. Tim Cast, Mom, brother-in-law. You're hearing all the list of Friedman, Reagan, Thomas Sowell. So anyways, you're going through David Goggins, Tony Robbins, all these names, right? When you sit there and think about it. Okay.
Who are your three?
I would have to say my three, I would put Milton Friedman in that list. Okay, 100% Milton Friedman's got to be on that list for me. I would put, I'm trying to say, Milton Friedman would be one. I'd have to put Ayn Rand on that list with Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, Atlas Shrugged, yeah.
I would have to put that on the list. There's a guy named Mono that most people won't even know. The guy played a very important role, even though stuff happened to him. He was a very important guy for me.
M-O-N-O?
M-A-N-O, Armenian guy. We used to go to his place, and we would sit there from Friday nights. Every Friday night for about 2 years, from 6 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning, we debated religion and politics is what we did.
Wow.
And from 6 p.m. till 2 in the morning. It was myself, Armand,
the owner of
Rafi's place.
Rafi's
Yeah, he would
place,
go.
yeah.
He introduced me to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Armand, who ended up committing, who took his life, and a couple other things, stories that we had that we go there. Anyways, so these guys flipping, but example why it's that, but flipping is different. There's example, there's flip. I'm talking flipping. Flipping is you're sitting and you're like, damn, I never thought about it that way before, right? I never thought. The art of flipping is not people who are extremely loud, emotional. That's not the art of flipping.
No, very subtle.
Obama flipped people.
Yeah.
And he did it in his own way. Obama did. Obama got Republicans to say, this guy's not that bad. Let me vote for this guy. He's a flipper, okay? Trump flipped people. Like him or not, he flipped people.
Yep.
He got some people to say, I like this guy. Bill Clinton flipped people. Reagan flipped people. Reagan, when he won, and the day of inauguration, Khomeini sends all the different POWs 30 minutes after he's given his speech, and he says, this happened because of Jimmy Carter. He didn't take the credit. So he got the Democratic audience to say, shit, how do you not like this guy, man? Freaking give them credit to the guy he just beat. You gotta love this guy, right?
Yeah.
He flipped people. The art of, we need more people today who are learning how to flip instead of talking to people like they're idiots. Nobody flips when you think the audience is an idiot. Not on the left, not on the right. The art of flipping people is not, what an idiot. What makes it? Now, I'm not going to flip like that. There's got to be a complete different way to presenting an argument to a person to say, I never thought about that way before.
That's the key, what you just said, presenting an argument, having an actual real debate. It doesn't happen now. It's all canned debates. That's really just propaganda. It's really just their message in the form of a quote-unquote debate. But nobody's having these conversations, these open and honest conversations, and there has to be some sort of, it's us too. We got to check ourselves as well. Like, we have to allow ourselves to be open to that new information as well, right? Like, it can't just be like, you said something once that was really, really smart, Pat, and it was something to the effect of, too many people listen to talk, they don't listen to hear, right? Like, I think, and that's the truth.
True reply.
Yeah, and I do that as well. Like, I'm as guilty of that as anybody. It's like, especially when I'm in a debate.
I think it's human nature to want to do that.
You have to, that's something I love about Rogan. Rogan, for whatever people say about Rogan, and for some reason the left absolutely hates Rogan now, but he legitimately listens to every guest he has on, and he takes in the information and he says, okay, he tries to put it.
How do you not love a guy like that? How do you not? It'd be so necessary.
Ask Brian Stelter.
No, but you have to realize, guys, the truth of the matter is with Brian Stelter and Rogan. Here's what happens, guys. You have to understand how the game of competition works. One of the best quotes I ever read about parenting, which Dudley Rutherford told me, was the following. He says, fatherhood goes through 3 phases. It's you first idolize. Oh my gosh, my dad's my hero. Like my sons are in the idolizing phase right now. Okay, they think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not naive, because you know what's next phase? Demonize. It's demonize. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy's a freaking worst father of all time. Leave me the hell alone. Stop it. I'm just so sick and tired of this. And then you humanize. So you know what? Freaking A, this guy's human, right? Yeah, it's my pops. Like, you know, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You kind of go through that phase, right? Competition goes through the phase as well. Except the competition, they first laugh at you, then they violently oppose you, then you become self-evident, right? I mean, it's very simple. You can violently oppose anybody that's coming up. In every competition, this happens. They violently oppose. Trae Young, he's not the next Steph Curry. There are about 70 rookie cards of Trae Young. The month of the pandemic, a guy needed money because the market took a hit. He said, I'm dropping 70. I said, dude, I'll pay you. What do you want to do? He sold it to me for nothing. I made 4X on the money. I bought 70 rookie cards, PSA 10 of Trae Young. I said, Trae Young, right? There's no way in the world. And he has to go out there and say, well, this guy's a baller. And then you hear all the comments. I always knew he was a baller. You didn't say he's a baller. You said this guy's going to choke. But he showed up in the fourth quarter, hit the 3 when it was necessary. Even though he's 4 for 22, he hits that 3, right? You are going to go through that phase. Right now, you know what status Rogan has earned? It's a very unique status. And that's the status everybody fears, the competition fears, and they want to destroy. The last status you get to is saint status. You know what saint status? Saint.
Oh,
saint.
yeah, of course.
Saint. You know what saint
You
status
can't do
is?
anything wrong.
You're untouchable.
You're untouchable.
Rogan is saint status. He's saint status.
Well, then why is Spotify taking all of his podcasts?
They
now?
can do.
Why is he letting them do it?
They can do whatever they want to do to the guy. He's saint status. The only problem with saints. Here's the only problem with saints. You know what's the problem with saints? They were once sinners. So the opposition can always go and find a bunch of dirt on them, and they're willing to pay premium to bring it out, to trash them. So just wait the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years on strategies on I'm telling you right now, Rogan doesn't walk on water. Rogan, who he is today, is because he's made mistakes, and he becomes a person who has a lot of perspective at his level. I guarantee you that person's made a lot more stupid mistakes behind closed doors that a lot of people don't know about.
Then I hope he owns it, man, because you know what? I don't think anybody wants somebody perfect anymore. We're in the era of authenticity, man.
But I hope he's got such a big, loyal following around him that they're going to come. Look, when it gets to a point where, you're a person that's...
It's like Tiger, Pat.
It's like who?
Like Tiger Woods.
Yeah. But this is different because the difference with Tiger was, there was an element of Tiger that I'm 10 times better than you. Rogan doesn't think he's better than you.
Yeah, sure.
Rogan doesn't have that energy. Rogan's just like, dude, I don't know what the fuck. Rogan says, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
just
a fall from grace.
So for Tiger's like, he's 20 years old doing an interview. He says, what's your goal? To win 19 majors, to be the greatest of all time. Tiger's saying this at 19, 20 years old. I mean, that's that's a little bit. Even Jordan said, "Look, I don't know what the argument. I don't know where I'm at. That's for the critics to make the feedback. But I think I'm in the argument right now. I think if you want to make the argument with me against Magic, I think I'm in the argument right now. If you want to involve me, so there was that element with it, right?
Right.
I think Rogan is in sane status, but media's gonna find stuff.
Yeah,
it's very easy to send money and say, "Can you tell me something?" So guess what direction they're gonna go? They can't go drugs because he openly talks about drugs. Yep. The only thing they can go through is what? Women.
He touched women or something like that. Yeah.
They're gonna try to do a what's that one comedian? The one.
Brett Kavanaugh?
No, not Kavanaugh. The comedian who was. We talk about him all the time. Louis C.K. Right? They're gonna try to find something.
And the thing is, Louis did do that though.
I'm not saying he did that. I'm not saying he's going to find a video of Louis C.K. doing that.
But they waited 10 years until,
So just listen. If it happens, don't flip and be surprised. People are going to find out that this is a flawed man like anybody else. You don't earn saint status being a saint all your life.
I don't think it's even more.
Well, I don't think it's the audience. It's always, the problem is it's the company that bails. It's the people on top.
He's going to have a place.
He
will have a place.
He
will always have a place. Rogan's always going to have a place.
Yeah, he's too big.
It's not.
And by the way, the part with Rogan that's absolutely genius, he's always confusing his audience. And here's how he does it. You know what? I think I'm going to vote for Bernie Sanders. Thanks, Joe, for the, confidence. I don't know if I'm going to vote Bernie Sanders.
I like the stroke guy.
I'm gonna go to this. Joe Jorgensen. Who would vote for the message?
Jorgensen,
I think I'm gonna go.
She's awesome.
I didn't say she's not awesome, but it's not a marketer.
Yeah.
A Joe Jorgensen to me is someone behind the scenes that coaches a libertarian on how to go out there. Well, not the face. She's not a face.
Spike Cohen, her vice president, pretty much agreed with you because he took over her campaign. People actually thought Spike Cohen was the guy who was running for president.
So listen, the last two libertarian candidates are absolutely, terrible marketers.
No,
Anyways, but we got a surprise guest here. Let's get a friend here. Is our friend here who I'm trying to get this guy to lift weights. I'm trying to get him to lift weights. I don't know why he doesn't hit the gym. Phil, when are we hitting the gym, man? I can tell him, baby.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, we got Phil in the house.
Yeah. Look
So,
better on you than me.
Yesterday, Phil says, look, when it comes down to judging, you have to be able to judge on the following different things. He says, look at this. Phil goes like this. It's 12:30 at night. He says, look at the skin. Look at the skin. He said, you can't judge that. How you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm great.
Great. Yes. Yeah. Did you hear the opening about my taking shots at Mr. Olympia or no? You didn't hear that part at the beginning? So I don't want to get you in trouble. just so if anybody from the Olympia brand is listening, he is not in agreement with me. This is me saying it. I stand for my opinions. He has his own opinions. But it's good to have you in Florida.
No, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. How's it feel, man, being in Florida? How you doing?
I think I need a change.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I'm excited to hear more about the change.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are curious to know what that change is.
Mm-hmm.
But we know the change, but some people don't know the change. But it's going to be exciting to talk about the change.
Absolutely.
For the right time. When the right time comes, we'll talk about the change.
Ricky, you have any idea what the hell they're talking about?
I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm just here pretending like I know what they're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we were just right now. What happened? Mike, put it closer. Okay. We were just right now. And by the way, got to tell you, man, you bro, even though, how long has it been since you competed? December.
December
18th, birthday, right? On your birthday. Yeah,
Yep.
you still look really good.
Yep.
Yeah, 7 times, man. You ain't going to lose it overnight.
Crazy.
That's true.
Crazy to have that going on. But what do you want to say, man? What do you want to say to people? What's on your mind right now?
Oh, right now, I mean, obviously, we're living through an interesting time.
Yeah.
And I will use one of your lines and say that the future is very, very bright. And especially for those people who know how to respond to the call of action right now. And they have to figure that out for themselves. But once they figure out that why and dig deeper and deeper and deeper, almost to where emotions come out, they can then develop those strategies necessary for their own level of personal greatness. And I've been traveling around now, and I've been meeting a lot of different people, and they've been feeling the same way. So I'm really encouraged to spread more positivity to everybody, letting them know that, with the world opening up, especially in America with gyms, thank goodness, because a lot of people are dealing with their mental health, that, they just really have to stay positive and, continue the good fight. Yeah,
I mean, that's the one big thing when, by the way, one story I have here. The story was that the shutdown. Did you see that story? Kai, which story is... Did you put the story up with the lockdown? Yeah, there you go. Harvard data. Matter of fact, I'm just going to read that right now since you brought that up.
Because
5. Go to page 5.
Page 5.
I think this is a story that Phil just kind of brought up right now. New Harvard data accidentally reveals how lockdowns crushed the working class while leaving elites unscathed, right? This is a Foundation for Economic Education. New data analysis from Harvard University, Brown University, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation calculates how different employment levels have been impacted during the pandemic to date. The findings reveals that the government lockdown orders devastated workers at the bottom of the financial food chain, but left the upper tier actually better off. It's interesting that the lockdown was to protect the bottom, but it actually ended up hurting the bottom is what it did. The analysis examined employment levels in January 2020, before the coronavirus spread wildly, before lockdowns orders and other restrictions on the economy were implemented. It compared them to employment figures from March 31st, 2021. Here's the data. Employment for lower wage workers, defined as earning less than $27,000 a year annually, declined by a whopping 23.6% over the time period. Employment for middle class wage workers, defined as earning between 27 to 60 grand, declined by 4.5%. However, employment for high wage workers, defined as earning more than 60K, this is not even millionaire, by the way, above 60K, actually increased 2.4% over the measured time period, despite the country's economic turmoil The datas are damning. They offer yet another reminder that government lockdowns hurt most those who could least afford it. When you talk about gyms, I can't even tell you how many people were calling saying, where the hell do I go to work out? Our office had a gym. People who had no gym, had gym memberships other places that were shut down, they were coming to the office to work out on the weekends at our office in Dallas.
I mean, hell, I didn't have a gym, you know, getting ready for the Olympia. Luckily, I was able to sneak in with a key and literally had to train with the lights off and parking down the street so then no one could see me, you know, training during the day or at night.
My question would be, how can I look like you without needing a gym? I think that's the real question everybody's asking, right? It's, I'd love to look like Phil.
He just implicated himself in a felony as well, by the way. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Gerard, you look like you want to say something about this.
Oh, man, I should let everybody else go first because I feel pretty strongly about this one, man.
Tell us what you're thinking.
Look, this is endemic of a wider societal issue. The elites are so far gone. They're so far gone from the reality of everyday life. You know, these are people that, you know, when they were shutting down the coal mines, they were like, well, just learn how to code. Why won't these guys just learn how to code, man? They're 45 years old, 50 years old. They've been working in a mine for 20 years. And you're like, yeah, just go to DeVry and learn how to code, get a job in IT. They work remotely. These are people with high-paying, six-figure jobs that all they need is high-speed internet. And they can work from Aspen. And they're like, well, who cares if I don't have to go to an office? They don't think about the office building supports the dry cleaner down the block, supports the pizzeria down the block, the barber down the block. There's an entire ecosystem that is around supporting them, the high wage earner. But they've spent their whole life going to private schools, going to, you know, these high-end Ivy League universities, and then they go to these Google campuses. They've never been around, quote-unquote, normal people. You know, this is where you get this Gal Gadot, you know, and all these Hollywood elites thinking they're going to cheer us up during the quarantine, like, you know, singing that song, Imagine, like, we're in this together, guys. And it's Malibu in her backyard with a 20,000 square foot house, and I'm sitting in here in a one-bedroom in Jersey City above an Indian restaurant going out of my mind, like, we are in this together. We are not in this the same.
An Indian restaurant.
Get me out of this. I'm smelling curry 24/7. Get me, Gal Gadot. I swear to God, if you sing one more time, I am gonna. Ooh, same thing. So they got a Tillis gym in Jersey, brother. Bro, they shut down the gyms and the churches during a pandemic, so we can't be healthy spiritually, emotionally, or physically. But they kept the liquor stores and Burger King open, man. Like, come on, bro. This is what I'm talking about. This is a let them eat cake moment.
This is why I love, Gerard, I love data. So I brought Billy Bean to one of our events. I don't know what it was, 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
2 years ago.
I brought Billy Bean to MGM. Yeah, and but we only did it at the MD meeting. It was only the brokers meeting. It wasn't for everybody, right? And I'm interviewing Billy Bean. He says, you know, when you're winning, you love data. When you're losing, you hate looking at the numbers because it's not the numbers' fault. It's something else. It's, you know, it's this, it's that, it's this, right? It's never the, you know, it's, no, there's a whole story behind it, right? Okay. You can get up there and talk about everything you want about the right decisions we made, et cetera, et cetera. Then comes data. And then you have to say, why did Florida's shutdown format work? Why did Texas work? Why didn't California work? Why didn't New York work? I mean, within a span of a week, we were both in New York and in California, right? New York, everywhere we're going, everyone's like, we talked to the cab driver. The cab driver's like, no, we felt it, the shutdown. 500,000 people have left this place. California, we go there. Mario and I are at, I don't know where we went. We went to get this food by the water. This guy runs up, stop, put the mask on. Complete different environment that they got. But Phil, the gym, the fitness world, you're in that space. How big of a hit did they take? You know, like now it's after pandemic. How big of a hit have some people taken? Did some people fully get out of the business?
There's a lot of gyms that suffered, no question about it. And unfortunately, those personal trainers, they suffered tremendously because they can't, even the ones that do like online workout programs, they're working from home, but they also are working internationally. So imagine not just the people who they can help domestically in the United States, but overseas. They still don't have gyms. So a lot of the personal trainers are like, well, what do I do? How do I really pivot? And even those influencers that are like, you know, you got bodybuilder and influencer kind of mixed together. What are they going to do? Just home workouts all the time? Eventually that became boring. And it became very, I would say, disingenuous to say that I got my physique based on this. So a lot of people had to really just take a hiatus, and a lot of athletes were furloughed like crazy. A lot were let go. Contracts from the supplement companies. I mean, supplement companies, I mean, they all lost their ass tremendously. So they're just now starting to, I'd say, turn the corner a little bit. But I think those people that are turning it are probably watching Valuetainment and learning how to be a better businessman, you know, to understand that this may happen again. So how do we, you know, solve that problem?
Yeah.
But the unfortunate part is that a lot of them still haven't figured out like a specific training module or whatever to enhance like their abilities. And I know we were talking about stuff like that last night. Is that
you have an online course if somebody wants to learn how you all your secret stuff that you've done over the years? Is there like an online course to buy of yours or no?
not yet in the process?
Oh, brother,
Yes.
people would pay premium for that to get their hands on how you train. Like, you don't have a video that shows how you train with a camera showing exactly your routine?
I've had workout videos, you know, DVDs, all that stuff. You know, I've done collaborations with different companies, but no.
Wow.
Something's coming though.
Well, if something
Something's
like
coming.
that-
I hope
Some-
so, because I know a lot of us would want to jump on
Are
that.
you kidding me? You
100%.
got a 7-time
100%.
Mr. Olympia
Oh,
who is still in shape. Like, he can
Yeah.
compete this year if you wanted to.
100%.
Any plans of this year or no?
You know, my phone's still on. My phone still works. My phone still works. So
I don't
you
know if
just-
those guys have called you or not. The folks from this, what is the brand called? Mr. Olympia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You still play basketball, Phil?
2K. But I mean, is this a challenge?
No. It's not, I can't play basketball to save my life.
Definitely not
I can't even
Ricky
play on 2K.
I'm just messing
No, but
with you.
I read your story, and I know you were a
Yeah.
basketball player before.
Yeah, no, I love it, but you know, for me to get back out there at, you know, over 250 pounds,
It's difficult, right?
It's not smart.
Yeah.
You're really asking for a problem. I mean,
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? A problem?
well, for me, I mean, normally I would get up to like 275. I, you know, off season. Right now I'm like at 250. I had actually tore my MCL about a year and a half ago and competed with it. So I'm only imagining like if I decided to go out and run,
Oh, I
that
see.
I probably wouldn't tear something else.
Oh, I see.
So-
what is it though? Is it the weight?
It's the torque. I
The
mean,
tor-
like,
yeah.
I mean, you got to get. I mean, look, when I played ball in college, I was 175 pounds.
Right.
You know, you look it up on the internet. I mean, I was pretty darn lean at the time.
You were. I saw pictures of you. Yeah.
And now you got basically 80 pounds on that.
Right,
You're
right.
gonna and much more years.
Right,
on
right,
on
yeah.
those joints.
Plus,
Yeah.
your muscles grow, your ligaments don't. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're just begging for a problem.
Oh, I see.
know.
I see. Interesting. How's Coleman doing? Like he was in. Did he have surgery? Is that why he was working with
Numerous.
coaches?
Yeah. So he's had numerous surgeries, but you know, I definitely feel like he's finding his way.
Yeah.
He seems a lot. One thing I give Ronnie Coleman is his level of positivity.
Yeah.
Throughout this entire process.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I had 2 hernia surgeries in 2 years, and I was definitely not happy with my surgeon.
Right.
You know, at some point, for him to have more than 10,
Wow.
I mean, and still go to appearances. I mean, I'd be doing appearances with Coleman, you know, overseas, and he's standing as long as he's supposed to be sitting down in a wheelchair, and this man would, you know, get up, stand up, shake hands with people, listen to their stories for 6 hours straight.
Wow.
I mean, you guys are men of sheer will. There's no way.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
you guys do what
100%.
you
Yeah.
guys do.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
No.
You know,
There's no way.
And shout out to staying positive. It's worked well for Charlie Sheen, so everybody should stay
Big,
positive. as well.
big inspiration.
Yeah.
Big inspiration. Big inspiration for that. I want to go to a different story. I want to go to a story here we got about the American dream. And I don't know if you've seen this story or not, but
What
if you
page
want
are
to
you on,
go,
Pat?
go to page, American Dream is what page, Guy? Is it on page 2? It's page 2.
Page 2.
Okay, go to page 2 on the bottom. How the 2 biggest status symbols of the American dream came to pose the greatest risk on inflation crisis. Business Insider story. Owning a house and a car has symbolized the American dream since the end of World War II. But these markers of 20th century prosperity are posing the 21st century greatest inflation risk. By May, a popular gauge of broad price growth had leaped to its highest level since 2008. Conservative economists and lawmakers have raised fears that unless the government reins in its spending, the U.S. risks repeating the crippling spiral of runaway inflation from 1970s. These months of decade-high inflation, driven largely by home and car prices, are now the principal risk to the economy economic recovery. Fannie Mae said in a Wednesday report, unless bottlenecks are quickly alleviated and price growth cools, inflation that's been largely deemed temporarily by the Federal Reserve could plunge the U.S. into a new economic crisis. The company's economic and strategic research group said. By the way, do you think owning a house is still the American dream? Would you say it's still an American dream? What would you say is the American dream today to you?
Being an entrepreneur.
Owning a business?
Yeah, and having passive income pay for all your stuff. That's my
the American dream.
100%.
Okay, so now go to somebody that's making $80 a year. Go to an $80,000 a year person, like 60 to 6 figures. You're making $60,000 to $100,000. What is the American dream for that person?
Making more than their friends?
Making more than their friends?
That's tough, man. I think it's
move the mic.
Sorry, yeah, I think it's regional. I think the American dream is different depending on where you are. I think the Texas American dream, Florida American dream is different than the New York American dream. And I think it's cultural now too. I think for some people,
it is cultural.
I think for some people, like having a PhD means more to them than having
more money.
Than having
It's actually a very good point.
Tim Grover's dad or parents, they kind of subtly throw shots at the fact that he's not a doctor. Even though the guy's trained the most successful.
It's a status symbol.
It's a status for them. It's crazy. I was reading in the book Winning, he's talking about that. They'll still, to this day, subtly throw,
jabs
if you were a doctor.
Well, he's Indian. He's Indian,
right,
so the family is,
of course.
Because Indian is what? Engineer, doctor, lawyers, similar to Middle Eastern, what they say. But I guess I can see that, the American dream.
For our boy Adam Sauce, I hope Soy Man Mafia is listening right now. He's not Soy Boy, folks, by the way. He's a big, strong man. So Soy Man Mafia, if you're listening, the American dream was a house and a car and an education. And the government got involved in all three markets.
Yep.
And what happened? That's all. That's all I'm going to say. Big government, tax and spend, Adam Sauce. Great hair, horrible politics. So if the government never got involved, 1978 Community Reinvestment Act.
He's about to drop in your DM.
If he never got in, you get Shaq in your DMs, I get Sauce in mine. We ain't the same. He
remembers when the whole Shaq thing happened, when the Kobe interview, when I asked Kobe, I said, who would have Shaq been if he had your work ethic? And Kobe said he wouldn't have been the greatest of all time. We would have won 12 championships, and then Shaq got pissed and came back. But
well, you told us that. You actually never shared that story with us about Shaq getting what he told you. We know that there was backlash because ESPN and all that, but you never told us.
Shaq DM'd me, and he was furious, saying,
at you?
He says, who are you to ask a stupid question like that, from Kobe? Who would I have been if I would have had a work ethic? You don't even know what you're talking about, and then he just blocked me. I'm blocked from Shaq on Instagram.
No way.
Hashtag unblock Pat. Everybody tweet at Shaq.
By the way.
Tweet at Shaq, unblock Pat.
I would love to sit down. Shaq will be surprised if he sits with me, because if you see my go ahead.
How many Papa John's franchises do you have to buy before Shaq?
No, I actually, and by the way, Phil messaged Shaq, and Phil's like, because Phil and Shaq have done stuff together. Shaq is a big fan of Phil's work. Shaq would come to watch Phil at Mr. Olympia. I think you guys have had multiple interactions together. Yeah, so, but I remember.
Oh, you messaged him?
No, he sent a tweet out because of what happened back and forth. Shaq was pissed. But if we play, the game, pick your starting five, and I say, you got first pick, you pick MJ. My second is, I'll go, let's just say LeBron or something like that. And then your third pick is going to be, let's just say you pick Kareem. I'm picking Shaq.
Yeah, 100%.
I pick Shaq because Shaq is irreplaceable. We talked about him last night.
I've never seen anybody take over a game. Yeah. I've never in my, I've watched LeBron, I've watched Jordan, I watched Bird, Matt. I've never seen anybody just decide, you know what? Nah, I'm just going to score the next 50 points. And just I've never seen anybody completely take over a game like 2000
What are you going to do about it? Try to stop me. Like, that was his mindset. Try to stop me. Anyway, so going back to this whole thing with American dream, I think you're right. It's different based on culture. It's different based on zip code. It's different. Do you have a different opinion with what he just said?
No, I agree with them. I know with us, with the Hispanic community, it's very much just as long as you can pay your bills and buy your little house, and then you're good. Like, to the American dream, to the Hispanic, to this day, is still buy a house. Like, you can own 100 units, Pat. You can own a skyrise in the middle of LA. You don't own a house, you're not crap in the Hispanic community.
House and FICO score.
Yeah, and
for
FICO
sure.
score, yeah.
House
my
and
dad's
FICO.
big on that. My dad's
Yeah.
FICO score and don't get any tickets. Don't owe the government.
Yep.
But in Hispanic
House and
communities,
FICO score.
you could own every house in the block except yours. You're a loser.
Literally, people will flex on Instagram
Yeah.
and say, my FICO is this.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well,
Yeah.
mine's been up and mine's been down, and I still have the better credit card
Right.
and the ability to spend.
Right.
So, you just have to.
It's not buying power, by the way, that makes you powerful in the Hispanic community. It's the fact that you own a house or you have a high FICO.
It's always been like that, though,
It's
even where I grew up.
insane.
Well, my dad met Siamak for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, and Siamak is coming to ask my dad for his daughter, my sister, right? And we're sitting, we're like, oh my gosh, here we go.
What's
again.
his
It's gonna be
credit score?
so weird.
That was
My
his first
dad
question.
asks him, what's your credit score? My dad asks Siamak, what is your credit score? Siamak's like, excuse me?
Dude, the world needs your dad on the podcast. He is Coco David. Joey Coco David needs to come on the podcast.
You and him have had some conversations together.
Oh, that's my
he's-
boy, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. By the way, we had a guy just gave $500 right now.
Wow.
Norman J. I think that's the highest ever. I tried to comment earlier in the podcast, but I had to verify the transaction on my CC. Active listening, listen for understanding, not to respond. We learned this is military leadership training. He's got his website there, www.njsdcapital.com. I am a newbie entrepreneur, and I want to attend the Vol Conference and get on that yacht. It's a must. Norman, send us a text at 310-340-1132, 310-340-1132. We'll have one of our guys contact you. But that's the record right there we've ever had. So, hey, thank you for that donation, man. But we'll have one of our guys contact you
Listen,
on that.
in the super chat, Pat, if they give $1,000 in the super chat, Phil will take his shirt off and flex. And if they give $2,000, I'll put another shirt on and walk out the room.
Why'd somebody put $1,000 right now on Phil? But the $1,000 going straight to Phil if you do that, because this will be like a what do you call it? You know how you go to events and you're doing guest posing? Yeah. So okay, let's continue here. What else we got on stories that we haven't covered? What else we got on stories that we?
The Nickelodeon one.
Let me see. Nickelodeon. You know what?
Are we doing that?
Did you do this on purpose?
By the way, did I do this on purpose? No.
It's not a grapefruit.
This is Tiffany. I see what you're saying.
man.
Oh, you're so funny, buddy. You are so funny. That was watermelon. Watermelon.
Gerard's having a blast with that thing.
Yeah.
huh?
Watermelon, buddy.
My bad.
Like I follow Daniel DiMartino Booth, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, we're screwed.
Oh, it's
A lot of people
It's
are
about to be explosive. It's about to get very ugly. And by the way, here's the biggest thing is when a person who is saying their entire lives, I work for you. My policy is to make your life better, but your policies temporarily hurt him or her, but 2-3 years down the line destroy that person's livelihood. There's only a matter of time before those guys say, I don't know if your policies are really that good for me. You're just hoping the folks on that end are not naive enough to just say, I think they're going to do it next time. I think they're going to do it next month. I think eventually people are going to be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. You've not done anything for my life.
California, Colorado, Jersey, in Florida. All right, like there's a reason why we're all here.
Don't forget Norway, by the way.
Norway,
Yeah.
by way of
California.
by way of California, and a baby seal. He rode it all the way here. But this is the thing, and again, to bring up Adam, right? Like Adam was like, "Were the lockdowns really that bad?" He's been in Florida the whole time. Like you don't know. Like it sounds so cliche to say this, but you don't know what we went through. Like I was a legit political hostage. Like I literally have non-essential.
Can you show that? People think that's like not real.
No,
that's a real tattoo,
I
non-essential.
got non-essential tattooed because they shut me down. Dude, I was on not one, I was on 2 national tours. All right, $1,000 a show. Not that anybody needs to know my finances. 70 shows, X'd out, gone. 70 shows. Then I go back home to Jersey, the highest taxes in the damn country, and they tell me because I work nationally, I'm ineligible for unemployment. So I've been paying taxes in New Jersey. I can't get unemployment. They won't let me work. I'm seeing strip clubs and liquor stores open. Strippers are essential, but I'm not. I'm watching WWE on TV, and I'm like, these damn bodybuilding stuntmen, no offense, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, these dudes are essential? And I'm not. Like, I'm watching these dudes dropping rock bottoms on each other, and I'm like, these guys are essential, and I'm not.
Anybody that's essential during the pandemic is comedians.
Yeah. Dude.
If there's anybody
Not
that's essential,
essential,
it's comedians.
brother. So I'm saying, at 70 grand, 18 months of my life, they locked us in. They locked us indoors. Like, it was literally illegal after 10 o'clock for us to go outside. Like, you had to show your papers. Like, what are you doing out here?
Why 10 o'clock?
Dude, because the coronavirus is a motorcycle gang and it comes out at night. That's why. That's why. All right? Because why did we have to wear our mask into bro, don't even get me started. On the flight back, this just happened on the flight back from San Francisco. This woman, she had it out for me, man. She was like checking me if my mask was here instead of here. She was like, "Sir, I've asked you to put your mask up." I was like, "Lady, when you were passing out the crackers 5 minutes ago, the entire plane took our masks off at the same time. We were sitting next to each other, unmasked, naked face, next to each other for 5 whole minutes. I think if anybody had anything, it's been transmitted. Can I please?
You told her that?
Yes.
Did they kick you off the plane?
No,
or?
she got mad at me. Then she came back again when it was here, and I was like, "Say it from 6 feet away. If we're gonna follow rules,
didn't say that
I
to
swear
her.
to God, hand to God, I was like, get 6 feet away. If we're following rules, we're following all the rules. If we're following rules, we're following them all. Say it from 6 feet away."
What'd she say? What'd she say?
She backed up. She was like, I was like,
You should have gone like this.
yeah,
Not
like,
essential.
yeah.
Dude, I'm dying.
Ain't nobody needs sky waitresses anyway. Get
But
a
I
real
want to
job.
know. But I want to know what data shows that the amount of people who get hypoxia by wearing it. Because
What's hypoxia?
you never been to Denver? No, like high altitude and all that stuff. So, like for instance, like
Breckenridge, you go there, it takes you 2 days to adjust to it. Like, remember
So-
when Andres Galarraga was hitting home runs in Colorado?
I've been fat for a long time.
So imagine, okay, so quick story. I go to, Shree's like, "Hey, I need you to go to Home Depot." I said, "Okay, fine." I go to Home Depot. I got to wear the mask. So I'm pushing the cart. I'm putting stuff in. And then next thing I know, I meet a few fans. And I'm just trying to be nice and, talk to them. Next thing you know, I just start perspiring like crazy. I'm sweating like bullets. And I'm thinking the last time I felt like this was when I first moved to Colorado and I went up to Pikes Peak. And I'm like, why is this happening? And now, like, this person and this lady is like, "I saw you in this film and like, oh my gosh, my grandson, can I take a picture?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm about to pass out." So I literally just took it off and I went out. I literally left the cart, ran outside, took a deep breath, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was near having an anxiety attack." And I don't have that. And I was like, "Well, let's rewind. What happened?" Doing this. And it was one of those that didn't have a lot of, it wasn't like, it was very thick. And it just made, and I'm claustrophobic as hell already. So it just really made me worse. So now I've had to figure out like which one will allow me to be able to breathe. So if I am on the plane, luckily when I was on the plane yesterday, I didn't have that same experience, and it is, I've seen certain flight attendants like, be cool with it and then not. But most important, I think, is very interesting when you're doing like this, and then you take the sip and you do that, and I'm thinking, how does that work? I just don't understand, and I'm not, I'll make fun of one situation, and that is the person that wears it by themselves in the car. I just don't get it.
Oh, even worse for me is when Tyronn Lue was doing the interview behind his desk, and he had a mask, and I'm like, "Bro, you're by yourself. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like in
from
the camera,
Zoom.
like, what are you doing? You're on Zoom. Take the note. You can't get the virus over Zoom.
I've come to like the mask though, because most people that are still wearing masks at this point are commie honkies anyway, and they're better when they're muzzled. So 100. The commie honkies are the ones, the soccer moms with the, I'm with her sticker still on the back of their Prius. They're the ones masked up.
It's gonna
right,
take for
David?
us. It's gonna take for us to defend other people.
I'm not a communist. I made one communist joke once to Gerard. Now I'm a communist.
Yeah, hey, that's hey.
Slingshot his communism.
So last time I came to Florida, I was sitting next to a kid, and the kid was eating his M&Ms, and the flight attendant told him, "Hey, after you put one in your mouth, you have to cover yourself, right?" And I told the flight, and the kid was, so we're in the first class, so we're sitting in the front. The mom is sitting next to her daughter on the next row, and I'm sitting next to him. And I think that he assumed he was with me, even though it was a little white boy. Kind of weird. Like, I'm not white, you know? And I said, he's not doing that shit.
Trying to say, that's it.
No. I'm just saying, I'm not white, like, obviously, right? And I said, he's not going to do that shit. I said, he's not going to do that. I said, we're normal human beings here, okay? He's going to eat. Whenever he's done, then he's going to put on his mask. So what you're doing is ridiculous. Don't go overboard either. And the guy just looked at me like, oh, shit. I said,
got addicted to the power.
What I'm getting at is that there's going to be a sense of people defending each other, too. Does it make, like, you got to step up for other people. The kid couldn't be older than 6 years old. And then the guy just looked at me. He just went to go do something else. And mom looked at me. She says, "Thank you," because it's annoying. He's a little kid. You're making him fear things that are not real. You know.
Well, it'd be different, don't you think, if there was someone that was sitting next to him that felt offended?
Yeah, of course.
Now,
but it
if
wasn't
there's
even
someone
that.
else,
Yeah.
then I could be like, okay, no
Yeah.
problem. I don't know you, Pat, but we're sitting next to each other. But here's the other thing that I've noticed is that, what about people that happen to get it? Don't they understand the whole, and this is going to, oh man, we're going to go there. The shedding.
What do you mean?
Meaning like anytime you get a shot and stuff like that, like you're going to shed, right? You're going to shed the virus. What if you're sitting next to someone who you don't know and you're shedding the virus and they don't know it? And they get sick or they have a complication.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So these are things that, like, I do believe, like, you know, when people say, hey, you should get this shot or whatever before you travel, you wait 14 days. You know, you can go get the shot at the airport, at some of the airports. So what does that mean? Like, okay, well, that's fine. I get it. But then I shed it to some other person.
You're literally
who may be
getting an active virus in that moment.
Who may be immunocompromised, and now I put them at danger. And I don't even know it.
I never even considered that.
And we don't think, like, so it's very tough to figure out, like, a real protocol on how to figure this out. And I feel really bad for anyone that has, you know, immune disorders. My fiance has 4. And, you know, I understand.
Yeah.
You know, she's got the PCOS, she's got Hashimoto's, like, she's got a lot of different things going on. So she can't really be around certain people at certain times. But, you know, she always tries to focus on what Beasley was saying is, like, you know, how can she protect herself naturally as much as possible. And in all essence, I do believe that we all should be figuring out, regardless if you take it or not, how can you boost your immunity naturally?
Yeah.
We should always, like, I wish I'm raising my hand right now, America. Like, if I can help, seriously, talk about health and fitness, this and that and the other, getting outside, being healthy that way, eating better. Because I still go to the grocery store, and I'm sure we all agree, frozen food section aisle is still wiped out. I mean, like the bad stuff.
Yeah.
We got to do
burritos.
better. We got to do better.
I know because I take them. So if you go to my city, they're wiped out. Oh, that was me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, like, you know, and I'm not saying everybody's got to eat like some, you know, competitive bodybuilder. What I am saying is that let's try to rethink some of these options.
Phil, I think you need a podcast. Is what I think.
Yep.
I think you need a podcast. It would be interesting if you had. Do you have a podcast currently right now or not? No. I think it'd be interesting if you had your own podcast and you brought athletes, because you're connected. You're connected both through Hollywood. You have friends in Hollywood. You have friends in all sports. I mean, Jamal Crawford's one of your buddies. You guys went to, you guys played together. You got guys in the NBA. You got guys in football. Mm-hmm. Chad Johnson wants to beat you in bodybuilding. You know, it would be interesting if you ran your own podcast, what that would look like. So you got strong opinions, and at the same time, you're coming from a different lens.
Yeah.
A guy that's got a degree. You would look at a Phil Heath and you're like, oh, he's probably just a meathead, right?
Yeah.
Guy's got a degree in engineering.
Yeah.
I confused it with accounting yesterday, but Ronnie's accounting. You're engineering, right? Accounting, 7-time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's got strong opinions for himself, and he's independent.
I would watch it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you had your own podcast. But gang, if you're watching this, we're at the end. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's podcast. If you'd like to see us bring back the same crew we had here today, let us know by smashing that subscribe button. Expect short clips to go out sometime later on this afternoon. With that being said, I think the next podcast we're doing is not Thursday. This is a funny week. I got a lot of people coming to town this week, and I got one of the people that's coming to town this week is a girl named Brooklyn, which is my daughter. We've got a lot of people coming to town this week. So we don't know. This is going to be a little bit of a disruptive week, but I love the fact that she's disrupting a week. Are we doing it Friday morning? Is the next one Friday morning? Give me the date on what it is. Whatever date it is, say that again.
Thursday at 8 a.m. it's going to start
instead of 9. Thursday at 8 a.m. this week podcast. Daniel DiMartino booth is here Thursday 8 a.m. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.